Am I still bullish on Filecoin? The answer is yes. And the reason for that is because I believe that its utility token called FIL could hypothetically go to the price of $100 during this bull run. And now, of course, nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee. But here's the thing. When it comes to Filecoin, I think it's one of the best projects out there that's focused on data storage. And let me show you what I'm talking about, because after all, Filecoin is a peer-to-peer network that stores files. And it's actually built on top of the same software that is powering the IPFS protocol, which, by the way, has been noted that it's a peer-to-peer distributed storage network. So yeah, that's pretty cool. However, the difference between Filecoin and IPFS, for instance, is that Filecoin actually has an incentive layer on top. And the reason why this is done is allegedly because, this does incentivize contents to be reliably stored and accessed. So yeah, that's very amazing. But even besides that, when you take a look at Filecoin, just at its core, what is it focused on? It's focused on decentralizing data storage, which I'm a very big fan of because I really love projects that are focused on that. Because if you think about it, the data storage, market as of right now, sure, it's already massive, but it still has a lot of room to grow. As a matter of fact, according to Fortune Business Insights, the global data storage market size could be worth nearly $800 billion by 2030. I mean, you could only imagine that, right? That's bigger than some countries' GDP. Now, this does have a very bullish sign in all of this when it comes to Filecoin, because if you take a look at a lot of data storage as of right now, nowadays, typically very centralized, usually controlled by a single entity. And of course, some people, they may not like this. Now, what is a solution for that? That's decentralization, because through decentralization, all those drawbacks, they're pretty much gone. That's how amazing it is. Now, granted, of course, it's going to take some time for these enterprises to change the way they view data storage. But I think it's just a natural evolution, because you take a look at, a long time ago, right? What did people use for transportation? At one point, they used horses, but now they use cars for the most part. And the reason for that is because it's just called moving on with the times. People just usually gravitate towards evolving to becoming better, to using more efficient solutions. And that's what I really love about, just what I take a look at when it comes to data storage, because I think the exact same thing is going to happen. Now, granted, history doesn't always repeat itself, but it tends to rhyme. So I think moving forward, as more and more enterprises start understanding this, I think it's going to start this kind of, snowball effect, right? Once a couple enterprises really start adopting decentralized data storage solutions, others will join. And again, it's just going to start this kind of domino/snowball effect. But it's just a matter of time, because again, this is how amazing it is, right? Imagine having all those amazing benefits towards data storage. Why would people not like it? And here's the thing. When it comes to Filecoin, some people like to say that, there's so many good competitors. Well, that I disagree. I agree that, there are some good competitors, but I don't think there's many of them. Because, for instance, you take a look at, there's Jasmy, of course. I'm very bullish on that. You take a look at Filecoin. I like that as well. Storage, Arweave. I love all of that. But really beyond that, is there really that many good options? Not really. So guess what's going to happen once decentralized data storage solutions gains hype, once there's a lot of FOMO, a lot of, adoption, guess who's going to be there? Something like Filecoin, of course, but also its competitors that aren't that many, that are good, of course. So, of course, naturally, there's going to be a higher probability of something like Filecoin to be selected, because if there isn't that many good options, guess what these enterprises may gravitate towards? Something like Filecoin. And I really like that. It's such a unique position, I would say, in the market, focus on such an amazing market as well. And if you also take this into consideration, they're focusing on it before the hype really kicks in. So then when it does kick in, something like Filecoin is going to go along with the ride. Much better anticipating something as opposed to chasing it. At least that's the way I view it. Now, if we take a look at FIL at the price of $100, is it really that crazy? No, because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $60 billion, which really isn't too bad, because if you take a look at Dogecoin, Doge at one point reached over $80 billion in market cap, so that's kind of caca. Now, I get it, Doge has a lot of fans, a lot of hype, but come on, Filecoin, its utility token called FIL can't hypothetically at least go to around $60 billion, like over $20 billion less than that. I don't think it's insane. Also, on top of that, you have to take this into consideration. Something like BNB reached over $100 billion in market cap in the past, back in 2021. And is the BNB smart chain ecosystem all that dynamic? I don't really know about that, because you take a look at how even just last year, According to Crypto.com research, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened actually occurred on the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem. So yeah, that's not great. I mean, the crypto space overall is massive, so slightly over 2%, that's actually a very staggering statistic. At least that's the way I take a look at it. So if something like BNB can reach over $100 billion in market cap, FIL can't hypothetically at least go to around 60, that's just the way I view it. Now, I don't think it's going to happen like tomorrow or something like that, because typically altcoins, they do take some time to peak, especially from right now. As a worst case scenario, they have been known to peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event based off of history. Now, the last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April. So that's as a worst case scenario, actually around October of next year in 2025. Now, granted, could it happen sooner? Absolutely. You just never know. But I'm more so taking a look at 2025. Altcoins as of right now, many of them are having a good recovery. You take a look at Bitcoin as well. Reached a new all-time high this year. Had a massive pullback, but then guess what? Good recovery. But I think better days are ahead, because next year, Bitcoin going to the price of $150,000, let's say, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. When you have over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, which is more than ever before in history, by the way. Also, on top of that, you combine that with the fact that there's, of course, the Bitcoin ETF. The number of institutional investors or Bitcoin is through the roof. Also, enterprise adoption is amazing. With all that, Bitcoin can't do that. I think it could hypothetically do that. And I think if it were to, again, do that, I think altcoins, much like FIL, they're going to naturally go along with the ride. So, yeah, I think that the future of FIL could look so bright, especially, again, when you consider the trajectory for the data storage market and just how amazing Filecoin is. Very strong and dedicated community. FIL, it's listed in many major exchanges. Great exposure. So that's amazing, because if you think about it, people can't believe in something that they don't know exists. It's like, for instance, I try to think about a color and describe it in detail, of which a color, again, that I've never seen before. That's impossible, right? How can I describe a color I've never seen in great detail? It just makes no sense. So it's much like FIL. So it's great that it's listed in a lot of major exchanges. Amazing exposure. I really like that. I think it's going to contribute to, of course, creating a bigger and better, community. Now, not to mention, I'm focusing on things that are within my control. Like, for instance, dollar cost averaging, acquiring anytime an income, holding, waiting, and my persistence, my patience. I can control that. But what I can't control is like, today I want the price of FIL to pump like this. Like, that's not how it works, right? And I don't want to resort to something like day trading or using leverage or swing trading. I don't want to do that. I like to keep things simple, because if I start focusing on things that are beyond my control, I could hypothetically drive myself crazy or insane or whatever. I don't want to do that, man. I want to keep things simple. I view myself as a simple individual, as a practical guy. So that's why I want to keep things simple by dollar cost averaging. Again, anytime on income, just acquiring, holding, and just waiting. Really, that's a very simple strategy, because I think around a year from right now, things could look so different when it comes to Bitcoin, altcoins, FIL, all that type of good stuff. I think it could look so different. All I got to do is just stay patient. I feel like I'm kind of nearing the end of the marathon, because I've been acquiring FIL for quite a while now. So if, let's say, I have to wait as a worst case scenario a year, fine. More time for me to accumulate. Now, granted, if it happens sooner, is it amazing? Yes, because, hey, that's party time right there. Going to Sizzler, Applebee's, Chili's, whatever the case may be. That right there is an amazing time. But of course, if I have to wait around a year from right now, fine. It's not too bad. At the end of the day, more time for me to accumulate, because if someone told me, hey, you have more time to accumulate something that you like, why would I reject that? I'd be like, all right, sure. But I'm not going to complain either, right, if it happens earlier. Because I think this bull run could be so amazing. Man, all I got to do is stay patient. FIL at the price of $100 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think Filecoin is that amazing of a project. Focus on the right market. Doesn't have that many good competitors. Even though it's not a small project by any means, I think it's a sleeping giant. And again, FIL at the price of $100 during this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.